Here. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. All right. Hello, my loves. Welcome and welcome back to my channel, Soup for the Soul Tarot. So, this is going to be a pick a card reading for the sign of Pisces for the month of April. And this is a monthly forecast. And so I'm going to give you guys a minute or so to breathe. Obviously, if you're live, you can't pause the video, but if you are seeing this on my YouTube channel, feel free to pause the video so you can move at your own pace. All right. Okay. All right, so we are going to start with those that chose this card here, card number 1 or pile number 1. What's going on for the month of April? The Akashic Library in the reverse. Okay, and in the upright, this is what this card looks like. Such a beautiful card. All right, I'll put that back over here. All right, so what's going on in the month of April? First of all, there's something coming through about hair. Perhaps it's time for you to get a trim, or, just get a haircut. Perhaps for the men out there, it's, shaving your beard or your facial hair, or just grooming your facial hair. Okay, but something about facial hair is coming through here in the month of April. I guess, I've recently heard about, I know I'm kind of behind, but Mustache March, and now that we're in April, right? The idea is that the mustache should be trimmed or shaved off or whatever. So maybe this is just the time for you to remember that you need to groom yourself. I don't know. Nobody please take offense to that. That's just, again, hair, maybe in facial hair is sending out to me. So that message may apply. Okay. What else is happening in the month of April here? So I feel like there's been a lot of isolation that's been going on. Maybe this has been happening for some time now, especially for those that are studying something new, or for my scholars out there or researchers. Okay. You may be knee deep in your work. There may be some confusion about something you've recently stumbled upon. Maybe you don't really know what to make of some information, or it's just you're kind of spacing out because you have a lot to process, and maybe you've spent too many hours in the office or too many hours in the lab, or too many hours in the library. Okay, but that's kind of what I see here so far. But let's dive into some tarot and see what else is going on for you. All right. month of April. All right, so we have the Queen of Coins, the Nine of Coins in the reverse, the Lovers card, okay, and we have the Hermit. You perhaps have Virgo in your chart, or perhaps Earth in your chart. Doesn't necessarily have to be. We do also have the Lovers card, some Gemini energy here. However, I do feel, despite the Lovers being here, I feel like a lot of you are alone. You may be reminiscing about a lover from the past, or reminiscing about memories that you've had with a lover. But I feel like you aren't spending a lot of time with them, regardless of the situation, regardless whether you are in a situation or in a relationship or not. I feel like the majority of you that have chosen this card are single, okay? But you could just be in a single energy, that's fine as well. With the Queen of Coins here, again, you are seriously focused on your work. So I see that here. And for some of you also, money may be an issue. Perhaps you are working really hard so that you can be more financially independent or have more financial freedom. So I feel like, again, this would especially apply to those people that are in school, or are working through some debt because of school, you know. With the Lovers card, you know, I do feel as if there is this desire to go outside and to make connections, or rather enjoy connections, maybe that you do have, or you know, the potential to have. But I feel like you're looking for people that you have a soul connection with, you know. So I feel like a lot of people here are introverted, you know, and there's a select few people that you allow in your space, you know. And I feel like for a lot of you, that has been missing for some time. All right, let's pull, let's pull an oracle card here. Yeah, we have space in the reverse, right? On the deck, we have ghost in the reverse. So again, I feel like people really haven't seen a lot of you. This is you having too much space. Also, I'd like to point out, you know, that Virgo is your opposite sign. You know, it's your 7th house, especially if this is your rising or your ascendant. But regardless, it is 7th from your sign. And we do have the Lovers here, right? So, you guys are really yearning for love. You guys are really yearning to find your soulmate. But you could also just be yearning to have those soul connections in the month of April. Or you're really going to feel it in the month of April. All right. Let's pull one more card here. See, what do you need to work on? What do you need to work on in the month of April? Some of you may be fearful you're going to be alone for the rest of your days. What do you need to work on? Okay, we have mansplainer extraordinaire. Okay, this may not resonate for all of you, but you know, for my masculines out there, you may have a tendency to kind of be a know-it-all. You know, and not only that, but maybe you have a tendency to over-explain things, or you guys don't really know when to put on the brakes, you know, and maybe let the other person talk or let the other person respond. You know, some of you may need to give the other person the benefit of the doubt. You know, you may have studied a lot, or you may know a lot about a particular subject, or perhaps, you know, a few different subjects, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are the only one. You know, so other people that may deal with you may feel as if you're looking down on them, or, you know, maybe you view them as being kind of dumb or vapid. Okay, and some of you may not mean to do that, but I just feel like you forget to maybe mind your language, you know, or mind the way you express something, or just pause and let the other person express themselves as well, and share what they know about, you know, the subject that you're talking about. But, you know, that may push people away, because they may feel as if they can't really have a conversation with you, because they feel like it's kind of one way, you know, and maybe they appreciate the knowledge and information you have to share, but it doesn't give them a chance, you know, so to share what they know, and so they may feel like they're not being heard, or that, you know, again, it may not seem or feel like a two-way street. So that's what I'm feeling for those that chose this pile. All right. Also, something else I'm getting from that as well is you may feel like you're no longer processing any information. You know, if you ever had that, where you're feeling overwhelmed and overloaded, and so it's like information goes through one ear and out the other, and so you may be feeling like that at work or at school in the month of April. All right, but thank you to those that chose card or pile number 1. That is your reading, And if that resonated or you found this fascinating, I hope you choose to one, hit the like button on your way out, but also subscribe to my channel or follow me on TikTok. All right, now we're going to move on to those that chose card number 2 or pile number 2. Let's see what we have here. We have 6 of Scrolls, the Sands of Time. Okay, so let's tap in here and see what the forecast for you is in April. So I feel like a lot of you are waiting to hear back from something or from someone, possibly. I feel like for a lot of you, this is more career or job related. You may have submitted a project or an application, and you're wondering if it's going to, maybe gain any traction, or, obviously maybe it's for those that kind of have posted things publicly, like a blog, or for those that are trying to grow a channel or something like this. Maybe you're kind of waiting to see if people are receptive to your work, For others, it's more of like a project at work, and maybe you're waiting to hear feedback from your boss or, people further up the chain to see if they like your ideas, to see if they kind of want to go with your idea. The example that's kind of coming to mind is the show Shark Tank. Someone here, I don't know, maybe watch that show a lot, or maybe you are, somebody that has presented their business idea to Shark Tank, which is, by the way, amazing. So regardless, I feel like you're kind of waiting to see if this is something that's going to follow through. I also feel like a lot of you are also struggling with finances, like pile 1. But you guys are being proactive about it, and not that pile 1 wasn't, okay, but I feel like for those that are more drawn to pile 2 or card number 2, it's more of people involved in business, or, you're more focused on maybe getting money. I just feel like the last pile, it was more about, sure, in the long term, money is important and maybe paying off debts is important, but pile 1 is more about that long-term study versus you guys. I feel like a lot of you guys are kind of already in the workforce, okay? Or, if you're about to graduate, this is, maybe you've put in applications at several jobs and you're kind of waiting to hear back. All right. Let's pull some tarot here. All right, we have the 10 of Wands in the reverse. We have the Knight of Wands in the reverse. We have the 6 of Cups in the upright. And we have the 9 of Swords in the reverse. Okay. So, yeah. So, for a lot of you, this could be a lifelong dream. This is definitely something you put your whole heart into, the 6 of Cups here. But again, there's nothing else that you can do. Again, I feel like a lot of you have submitted something, and you're waiting for feedback. So it's not like you can put in any more work. So in the month of April, I kind of feel like you're stressing about the outcome here. And this is kind of like a make it or break it moment. With the Six of Scrolls, you know, will you move forward? Or will you have to kind of scrap everything and start over? You know, with the Ten of Wands in the reverse. Is this a sign that you're not meant to go this route? And I think that is your worst fear, is that this path isn't meant for you. When you've wholeheartedly believed and convinced yourself that this has always been the path, or this has always been the dream, you know? All right, let's pull a few oracle cards here. Also, I feel like there are people that are watching you. Maybe they're watching to see what happens. Perhaps this is family. I do feel like you have supporters here, though. But I don't feel like you're focused on them. So don't forget, I feel like some of you have people you don't even know about that are waiting in anticipation, and honestly, I feel like they're hoping for the best for you. But you're so focused on this, I don't even think you realize, for some of you. Okay. Yeah, so we have consciousness in the challenge position here. Bottom of the deck, by the way, we have growth. So, yeah. And under that is abundance, like that. So, you're wondering if this is something you can use to expand or not. For some of you also, you may have applied for funding and you're waiting to see if you're going to get approved, or maybe you've applied for a loan and you're wondering if you're going to get approved, especially if this is like a business loan or something like this, you know? But yeah. Let's see what Spirit thinks is the most likely outcome. Like, what do you need to know? What do you most likely need to know? Okay, we have Procrastination Master. Look at that. We have two of these. I feel like Spirit is saying this is kind of out of your control. For some of you also, you may have gotten a late start. And that may be working against you. Perhaps you submitted something a little too late, you know, and you're stressed about this. Also, for some, I'm feeling for whatever reason, maybe some legal actions or something involving the law or the government. Yeah, I really feel like this is kind of up in the air. So you may not hear back when you're wanting to hear back, if that makes sense. I feel like there's a delay. I feel like there is a delay, and maybe that's something that's really frustrating you, is you don't know when this is going to go through, or you don't know when you're going to hear back, especially if you were dealing with the law or something government related. All right, but that is what I see for those that chose this card. If that resonated, I hope you choose to subscribe to my channel, Soup for the Soul Tarot. Follow me on TikTok perhaps, but don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. All right, and we're gonna move on to those that chose card number 3. Hello. What's the forecast for the month of April? So we have the Ark of the Covenant, number 11. Okay. Okay. In the month of April, I also feel like pile 2, there is some waiting involved here, but I feel like you guys are further along and you're probably going to hear a response pretty soon. Perhaps it could be in a few weeks, you know, from now. But there's this feeling of any moment now. Any moment now you should hear news, or any moment now you should hear back. And so unlike pile 2, I feel like you guys are a little less stressed. Also, this may not be for everybody, but you could be deployed for those that are in the military. And you're just kind of waiting for time to pass. But again, I feel like this is more optimistic than the last pile. Also, I am going to relight this candle. Yeah, with the last card, I feel like they are starting to lose hope. They're starting to lose momentum, versus you guys, I feel like you're hopeful still. Perhaps the worst has already come to pass. All right, let's pull some tarot here. Also, some of you could be having meaningful conversations with a friend that is really close to you, or that you've gotten close to in the month of April. This person could feel like a kindred spirit for you. Like there's definitely this energy of this person makes you feel safe. This person makes you feel good. And it's a comfort despite the situation. All right. We have the King of Swords in the reverse. All right. We have the Two of Cups in the challenge position. We have the King of Wands in the reverse. Yeah, 2 people here. Oh. The Emperor in the reverse. Okay, there's a few people here. Interesting. Okay. So with the King of Swords in reverse, I'm honestly feeling like you feel maybe you are part of a small group. Perhaps it's just you and one other person or you and a small group of people. But this is feeling like the outcasts or feeling like the group that does not agree with the rest of the whole, you know, with the rest of the community. And perhaps you're kind of, I don't know, retreating from other group activities, you know, or you just may not be communicating with those other people as much. With the 2 of Cups in the challenge position, again, I just feel like you don't really agree with other people's opinions around you, or maybe you don't feel like you really vibe with them or fully like understand why people are kind of going along with the narrative the way they are. It's like, I just feel like I'm seeing somebody pass through a crowd that's moving in the opposite direction. And you're looking at people's faces and you're like, wow, they look so zombie-like. They look like they're all in a trance, you know, and you may feel like you just don't connect with them. Maybe you feel as if you're on a different frequency than a lot of these people. You know, you may feel as if you are more aware than a lot of these other people about certain things. And, you know, with the King of Wands in the reverse, it kind of puts you in a difficult situation. Maybe because you don't have authority in this circumstance for some of you. You know, yeah, I just feel like a lot of you aren't in this position to make the big decisions. You're like, well, you know, that's just my, you know, that's just my 2 cents, you know, about what's going on. It's like, I don't expect my own opinion to, you know, change, you know, these decisions or the direction we're going, especially again for those that, you know, maybe fighting for something bigger. You may not agree with all the methods, you know, that's happening, or the plans that are happening, or, you know, even why they're happening. But maybe you're kind of going along with it because, I don't know, maybe you have a love for your country, or you like the idea that you are doing something meaningful, or, you know, maybe you're just doing this because it's a paycheck and it provides you benefits. I don't know, it's going to be different for each person here. And hi, love, I am not doing free readings at this time, no. But I do from time to time. I might consider doing some free readings later tonight, if you want to check back, or tomorrow, or sometime this weekend. But I'm not doing free readings right now. All right, let's pull a few oracle cards here. Yeah, there's this feeling of, again, this is kind of out of our control, you know. There are forces that are a lot bigger at play. All right. Also, I'm kind of getting this energy of be careful of what you're saying. Your opinions maybe are being heard somewhere. And maybe you don't care, but maybe that also could affect your affect you personally, you know, and maybe that's not something you want. I don't know, I'm just saying. Or it could affect your safety or your job. All right. Okay, we have surrender in the reverse, of course. Bottom of the deck, we have rejection in the reverse. So a lot of you don't care, you know, you guys are definitely like a rebel group. Yeah. This is like, I will not give in, I will not surrender what I believe, you know. So what should you know? What should you know? Oh shoot, sorry. There's a little card that fell. I'm gonna pick it up real quick. Give me 1 sec. Oh my goodness. All right, we have serial killer. Guess that's a little pun. So I feel like I'm also connecting to a group of people that, you know, may have some temper problems. I'm just saying, like, maybe you get irritated easily, or you get easily triggered by people. Maybe you're just tired of the crap, you know, and it kind of keeps you on edge, or puts you on edge, either way. You don't want to be boxed in. I think you don't like the idea of groupthink, okay? This group, this pile, you don't like the idea of groupthink. You guys are definitely my independent thinkers. Perhaps you would subscribe to either, you know, being a libertarian, or perhaps nothing at all, you know, or maybe you guys are truly liberal, you know, in the truest sense of the word, and not necessarily like the political party, but for some maybe the political party, because that's your interpretation of what freedom means, or what freedom should bring to people. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Perhaps in the month of April too, you may be having these small group conversations about politics, perhaps what's going on in the world, you know. If I want to say for this group here, if you guys have ever thought about starting a podcast, if you haven't already done that, or channel or something like that, I think that would be a good way to kind of express your opinions and your insights, because I do feel like this group kind of has a lot of them, you know. And maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised to see how many other people also want to tune in to what you're saying. But I do feel like a lot of you kind of want to just be left alone, you know? Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. All right. All right, thank you to those that chose that pile. Oop. If this resonated, I hope you choose to subscribe to my channel, Soup for the Soul Tarot. Follow me on TikTok, Tea Time Tarot. And don't forget to hit the like button on your way out, please. And thank you. All right, guys, that is a monthly forecast for the month of April. I'm going to end this live, and I'll probably start a new one here soon. But if you want to follow me on the other side, great. I'll see you there. And if not, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys some other time. Bye.